A person climbs onto a box. They point at a locked palace gate. Then they hand the crowd a red crowbar. Suddenly, fix the door becomes own the palace. That is where treason gets its teeth. Not because people are angry. Anger is legal in many places, even rude anger. Treason is different. It aims at the state itself, the government, the constitution, the public order, the boring machine that keeps power from becoming one person's toy. In Old Chinese, Mufan meant plotting rebellion against the ruler. In modern law, the exact boxes change. Some laws talk about armed rebellion. Some talk about overthrowing the government. Some talk about helping an enemy. But the shape is similar. Speech says, listen to me. Protest says, change the rule. Treason says, break the referee, burn the rule book, crown the loudest arm. That is why states fear it. A bad law can call too much treason. A collapsing state can see treason everywhere. But a real plot is more than complaint. It brings force, foreign help, or a plan to seize public power. The small test is this. Does the act challenge a leader? Or does it try to replace the country with one private command? Dissent says, the ruler is failing us. Treason says, the country belongs to me. Same mouth. Very different crown. Now here's the part that makes the word slippery. Every state draws the line in its own ink. The United States writes it very narrowly. The Constitution says, treason means levying war against the United States or giving aid and comfort to its enemies. That narrowness is not accidental. The founders had watched kings use treason like a fly swatter. Hit the pamphlet, hit the rival, hit anyone with an inconvenient eyebrow. So they put the charge in a small box, 2 witnesses, or a confession in open court. A big lock for a dangerous word. Other countries use different boxes. China's modern criminal law does not need the old storybook word mu fan. It talks about armed rebellion. It talks about violent riot. It talks about subverting state power. Different labels. Same fear under the floorboards. Who gets to command the public machine? This is why ordinary dissent has to stay outside the treason box. A petition is a hand on the brake. A lawsuit is a key in a slow lock. A strike is a crowd blocking a road. Civil disobedience may break a rule on purpose, but it usually does not claim the whole state. It says, punish me if you must, but look at the broken thing. Treason says something colder. The referee is fake. The rule book is trash. The gate belongs to us now. And if the army, a foreign power, or secret force helps, the red knot stops being a metaphor. It becomes machinery. That is the useful side of the word. Not nice. Useful. A society needs a name for the moment politics turns into seizure, when the election is not an argument anymore, but a ladder into the counting room. When the microphone is not speech anymore, but a switch for uniforms. When the crowd is not demanding repair, but delivering the keys to one private hand. The danger is what happens next. Because states love boxes. Once a box exists, someone will try to shove enemies into it. A nervous ruler hears criticism and calls it rebellion. A lazy court sees a crowd and calls it conspiracy. A frightened public sees an outside accent and calls it betrayal. That is how the treason box gets overstuffed. The lock meant to protect the public turns into a lock on the public. So the test has to be simple. First question, is there force or serious plan for force? Second, is someone helping an enemy in a real conflict? Third, is the target a policy or the machinery of public power itself? Fourth, could the government answer this with normal law without pretending the country is about to vanish? And fifth, who benefits if this gets called treason? The public? Or the person holding the biggest stamp? When the answer is public safety, the box may belong on the table. When the answer is personal safety for a ruler, The box is already doing the crime's work. It is turning the country into one person. That is the final trick. Treason is supposed to punish betrayal of the state, but abused treason charges betray the state too. One steals the gate with a crowbar. The other steals it with a stamp. Same palace, different tool. So when someone says treason, do not ask only, are they angry? Ask what they are trying to own. A law can survive anger. A country can survive protest. It can even survive rude little bubbles. What it cannot survive forever is the crown pretending it is the country. That is the simple trouble.